Hello?
Sean,
Hey, Jimmy. Thanks for calling.
you're welcome.
I just want to ask you a few questions to get to know you a little bit better. Then I want to talk to you about your upcoming show, which is Humor for Humanity, December 31st at the Wilbur Theater.
Yes, sir. New Year's Eve, baby. I am ready, Sean.
Yeah. All right, so first let me start off by asking, what was it like growing up in Cambridge?
Cambridge,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, let me just say, God's country.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good, man. It was good. We had a cool neighborhood. It was, the grammar school was diagonally across the street. That's where I went to grammar school, at the Longfellow Grammar School. The high school was about a mile away up Broadway. The St. Mary's Church was about a quarter mile to the other direction. There was a big park there, basketball courts. It was a good neighborhood. It was a lot of fun. It was a working class, middle class neighborhood, and it was fun. My father got our house with the GI Bill in the 1950s. He came back from the war back then, and it was a big trend in the country. A lot of returning GIs and veterans were coming by, and the government had a program for the GI Bill and helped build the middle class of America with the GI Bill. So my dad bought our house back in 1953, I think, 53, 54.
Wow.
So we grew up there. I'm the oldest of 4 children, Sean. What about you? Where do you stand in the family?
It's just me and my older brother.
Excellent.
But, yeah.
Do you tell him what to do?
No, he's a lot bigger than me, so.
Cool.
And okay, so how did you get started in comedy?
The way I got started in comedy is a friend of mine from high school was hosting an open mic night at a Chinese restaurant in Inman Square, Cambridge, called the Ding Ho, and my friend's name was Lenny Clark.
Oh.
And he was the host of the show, and anybody could sign up to go on stage. So I knew Lenny from high school. And so, coincidentally, he was a year ahead of me, and I found out about it, and I went down and watched this show one night, and I wondered, man, could I get up and, I'd like to try that.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was playing harmonica, and in college, I went to SMU, by the way, Southeastern Massachusetts University. It's now UMass Dartmouth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and my roommate, Jack Noons, was from Taunton.
Jack
Jack Noons from Taunton, and he and I are still very, very good friends. Now,
Yeah.
he doesn't live there now, but his brother, I think, was the mayor or the vice mayor.
Bob Noons?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the mayor, yeah.
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 No, that's Jack's brother, and so Jack and I became very good friends, but I went to UMass Dartmouth. That's how I know Jack, and that's how I became somewhat familiar with Taunton. But anyway, so when I was at school, I started to go to some of the folk nights and stuff. I was interested in people doing solo performances, a folk singer, poetry nights, things like that. It was a little bit out of the mainstream, but I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
It was just one person with a point of view. And I had started playing harmonica experimentally in college, just, messing around with it. I always wanted to learn how to play. So anyway, when I saw Lenny's open mic night, then I went down to New York and I saw Rodney Dangerfield. A bunch of friends of ours went down and saw Rodney Dangerfield in New York at his club.
Yeah.
And the guy that was opening up for him was a comedian named Dennis Blair. And Dennis was playing guitar and doing song parodies. So I didn't really know how to write a joke or any material, but I thought, wow, with the harmonica, I could do some song parodies,
Yeah.
And so that's what I put together. I started with song parodies. The Test Tube Baby Blues, Thank God I'm a City Boy, Thank God I'm a Burbite, and my favorite, the Poopa Scoopa Blues. So I had some fun doing that, and that's how I sort of started with open mic nights.
So, so you really didn't do any type of comedy then before that, before college?
No,
Wow.
I didn't even do it in college. I didn't do it till I graduated college. But when I was in college, I had become interested in some sort of performing, but there was no outlet. There was no open mic nights or anything, at least at that school at that time. But like 5 or 6 years after getting out of school, this comedy club opened up in Cambridge, the Ding Ho Chinese Restaurant Comedy Club, and my friend Lenny was the host of the show, and I went down and signed up on the list to do open mic night. Are you familiar with open mic night?
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody can sign up, and you can try it out for 5 minutes, you know. So it was a lot of fun.
So did you continue to do open mic nights and just got better at it?
As a matter of fact, I fell in love with the place because it was all people my age making things up. There was it was an artistic element, but it was an artistic element in a very not artistic way in a sense. You know, it was mostly guys, and they were making stuff up on stage, and they were funny, you know. And so I was attracted to the scene. I asked the owner if I could work there, if they had any job openings, you know, and I became the daytime bartender and janitor and maintenance man there. And I did that for about 3 years and just got to watch everybody and meet everybody, and it was cool.
Yeah. I kind of wish there was a place like that around here in Taunton. There's not really. I can't really find any open mics.
Are you a comic, Sean?
No, I've
Are you aspiring to be?
A little bit. I mean, I do this talk show, and I've had thoughts about trying an open mic night, but there's none around here in Taunton.
Sean, I'm going to give you the advice of the century. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Start your own.
Start my own.
People will come out of the woodwork to do it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you want to do it, it's the best thing you can do. You know, you look around Taunton, see what kind of clubs there are there. Ask the owners, you know, when they have a slow night, like a Tuesday, a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday night, you know, or a Thursday night, you know, and you can do it, and the comics will show up, and you have a relatively low cover charge, you know.
Yeah.
And then you host it, and you can get stage time. Stage time's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And once you start doing that, then all of a sudden and now you're starting to book the comics, right? And it's not that hard to book an open mic night. It's basically people come down and sign up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? No one gets paid,
yeah,
right? But you could do it and charge $5 to get in, and you can keep the door for you and let the owner take the bar, and you know, and you can start. That's how I started. I mean, because I wasn't good enough to work at the Ding Ho when I first started, but the owner, or Barry Cremens, the comedian, said, Jimmy, start your own night. You know, go start your own gig and go hustle up your own gig. And so I did that. I went to Watertown, Mass, and a friend of mine had a bar there, and I asked him, could I do comedy upstairs? He said, sure. And so he loved it, you know, and it was great, man. It was great. And it started, you know, it was a way to start doing it, you know.
Yeah, no, that didn't even cross my mind to do that. But
and then you can promote it on your podcast.
Yeah.
And then you can invite the comics. Like, let's just say, you know, try to get their names in advance, and then have them call in the day of the show or whatever, and say, you know, next Friday night, or whatever night you're doing it, you know.
Yeah.
Billy Sullivan's coming down. Billy. You know, where you from? And, you know, you could do little interviews, and then you could use your podcast to promote the open mic night.
Yeah. That's a really good idea. I don't know. I can't believe I didn't think about it. But
that's okay, man. You know what? It's the great thing about comedy is it's a very low bar to entry. You know what I mean? You don't have to go to school for it.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You know, it helps to be knowledgeable. It definitely helps, but it's like that's the great thing about it. It's very very democratic like that.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you, how did you develop your style of comedy?
I just developed it on stage, really. I talked about things that interest me, and that's how I got into it. I just talked about things that I found interesting, whether it was in the paper or real life or funny things that happened or, true stories, embellishing the truth a little bit,
Yeah.
Like I'm the oldest in my family, which means, of course, you get the most responsibility. So after supper, my mother would say, all right, time for chores. Now many hands will make light work. Now Ruthie do the dishes, Bobby take out the trash, and Gary sweep the floor. And Jimmy, what? Paint the house. Right? And it's like, my mother really didn't say paint the house, but you just embellish it a little bit. But when it came to giving out the chores, I always got the most because I was the oldest and the most capable, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how comedy is. It's like sometimes you're using your imagination, you're making things up completely, but sometimes you're just taking a kernel of truth and exaggerating it, or sometimes it's just naturally the truth.
Yeah.
It's just naturally the truth, and it's hilarious
or
funny. So there's all sorts of different approaches to it. But once you start thinking about it, you find your own way on how to do it.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of something I wrote down here. But I was watching, I think it was your YouTube channel. I think I was watching a video of your speech at Harvard.
Yeah.
And I heard you talk about. I wanted to ask you if this was true, or if you kind of embellish this a little bit when you talked about stealing bikes from Harvard.
That is true, but I did embellish it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I said we were being chased by the Harvard police, the Harvard, students, and the Harvard faculty. That part is exaggerated.
Yeah.
But the kernel is true.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I thought that was a funny speech. Good speech.
Well, thank you.
And so yeah, you graduated from Harvard with a master's degree.
Yes.
And what motivated you to go back there?
Because I had been doing comedy for 30 years. I loved it, but I also was interested in doing something besides just performing. And I was interested in maybe doing something that had maybe some more meaning, because I love performing, but it's very much it's basically entertainment. I try to use comedy for more than entertainment because I do social and political humor as well.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's usually about the performer and the audience. And I felt like there was a lot of things I wanted to learn about and explore, and possibly do something of more significance than just performing. So when I went back to school, what I'm trying to do now, I came up with the idea of humor for humanity.
Yeah.
Which is a way to use entertainment for purposes beyond just entertainment. So what I'm trying to start now is just to have a philanthropic component to what I do. For example, the shows at the Wilbur Theater on New Year's Eve, that will be 10% of the net proceeds from that will go to Globe Santa, which provides Christmas gifts for needy children around Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And so, that's just one small thing. But ultimately, I'd like to do more fundraisers and more. Well, the actual mission statement is humor for humanity, more than entertainment, raising spirits, funds, and awareness for nonprofits, charities, and social causes. Our mission is your mission. Humor for humanity. Humor in healing, humor in hope, humor in help. Ha, ha, ha.
Okay, well, about running out of time, so let me ask you, after it's all said and done, what do you want people to remember you for, or know you for?
When it's all said and done, what do I want them to remember me for?
Yeah.
Is this my last interview? Well, I think if you can make people laugh, that's great. If you can make them laugh and think, that's really good. But if you can make them laugh and think and act differently and take action, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do with Humor for Humanity is actually use the work for purposes beyond just the entertainment value. And it's an experiment at this point. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about all the questions I had.
Cool. And let me ask you, can you give me my website?
Yeah, it's jimmytingle.com, right?
jimmytingle.com. And are you on Twitter, Sean?
Yeah.
Can they follow me on Twitter?
Yeah.
At Jimmy Tingle?
At Jimmy Tingle. Okay.
And are you on Facebook?
Yep. Monday Morning Show on Facebook.
Good. So you're going to put it out there. I'm on Facebook as well.
Okay. All right. And yeah, thanks for the advice.
My pleasure, Sean.
Yeah.
My pleasure. I'm telling you, if you have the initiative to start a podcast, you definitely have the initiative to start an open mic night and start putting together your own comedy pieces.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do. You can do it, man. Go for it.
All right. Thanks for calling today, and hopefully I can talk to you again sometime.
My pleasure. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Rock on, brother.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.